welcome to episode 61, part 3 of Kenya's premier sports video podcast, the Three Quarters Podcast. As usual, we'd like to remind you to jump onto the hashtag Road to Japan to support the Kenya Simbas as they're still looking to qualify for the Rugby World Cup in 2019 in Japan. I'm Denima Duffield.
And I'm Ngaro Kamuya.
So now we'll talk about football.
Yeah.
And we've got the E.P.L wrap-up.
Yeah.
So match day 29 review. That was Man City versus Chelsea. Still going on, yes?
Yeah, still going on. But just before Man City versus Chelsea, we had Spurs, Tottenham Hotspurs, that is, beat Huddersfield 2-0. We had Liverpool beat Newcastle 2-0. We had, Jesus Christ, Brighton beat Arsenal 2-1. So City versus Chelsea is still going on. It's 1-0 to Chelsea, Manchester City, goal by Bernardo Silva. I think we had more or less predicted that City were going to win. But look, the game is not over. We'll have to wait and see how it goes. I'm sure by the time you're watching it, you'll know what the result is.
Yeah. But
unless Manchester City lose, even if it's a draw, I think City have this pretty much wrapped up. They have been the most dominant team. They've led from the beginning of the season. So I didn't expect that Chelsea were going to mount a challenge. They are very good in the big games, but I didn't think City are playing on another level. And this is coming off, by the way, you have to realize that City actually had a game in the week against Arsenal where they thrashed Arsenal 3-0 at the Emirates. So yeah, Man City looking very strong, and I don't think we'll be able to stop them. Now, match day 30, we have Chelsea versus Crystal Palace, we have Arsenal versus Watford, we have Bournemouth versus Tottenham Hotspurs, and we have Stoke versus Manchester City, and we have what's going to be a feature game of the week, which is going to be on Saturday at 3:30 p.m. It's the North England derby, Manchester United versus Liverpool, old foes, the two most successful clubs in the history of English football. I would not like to write off Liverpool, despite the fact that Man U are playing at home, and also the fact that Man U are on top of Liverpool in the table. I actually think it's going to end as a draw between Manchester United and Liverpool. But yeah, that's our feature game for match day 30, and it's a game you definitely want to watch. You don't want to miss out. Manchester United versus Liverpool.
Well, talking about Arsenal, I mean, I see they've had a really bad run.
Yeah.
So Arsene Wenger, I mean, there's rumors about him leaving.
Yeah.
Just following the results that we've had.
Yeah. Arsene Wenger has been the coach at Arsenal for the last 22 years. I have supported Arsenal for about the same time since when he joined Arsenal, and this is the first time I actually believe that the exit rumors are actually true. And for you to understand the issue of Arsene Wenger, you have to understand the history of the club.
Yeah.
When David Dean, who was the vice chairman, exited in 2005 and sold his stake to Stan Kroenke, that's where the problem started, because Stan Kroenke, who's the majority owner of Arsenal, is always about the bottom line. He really doesn't care about the result. He's always about whether he's making profits or not. And if you want to confirm, you need to go and see the other teams he owns in American sports, in America rather. The Colorado Rapids, the Denver Nuggets, the Los Angeles Rams in the NFL. It's always about the bottom line. It's not really to do with winning. And I always say that it's never about the winning for him, right? And you see, Arsene Wenger did what he could do. He's a good manager, and he was able to win and get to where he did and finish fourth, and with the team that he had. And he was also able to generate revenue for the club because they were finishing the Champions League. So the first thing that happened is that Arsenal misses out on the Champions League. The revenue from the Champions League goes south. I was watching the game versus Man City. Emirates was not full. The stadium was empty. And that's the only way you get rid of Wenger.
Yeah. When
the fans stop coming to the stadiums, and when it stops making financial sense for Stan Kroenke.
Yeah.
At that point is when he's going to say, look, I think we need to change. I think we need to bring the fans back. I think Wenger needs to leave.
Yeah.
There's talk about Joachim Löw, a couple of guys. Joachim Löw being, I think, the ones that gets everyone excited, taking over at Arsenal. But look, it's football, it's sports, it's the business of sports. It's never over until it's over.
Yep.
So we just have to wait and see how that one goes.
All right.
Yeah.
So now we're on to the rally, and you had FIA president Jean Todt in Kenya, and he came to open the World Rally Championship. Yes. Safari Rally Project offices at Kasarani. Now, what does that mean for Kenya? I mean, obviously he's very impressed with the work that's been put in so far over the past few years, so that Kenya can basically get back into the World Rally Championship by 2020. Yes.
as a rally fan, I'm very happy about what's happening because as I told you a couple of times before, I grew up watching the rally. I used to be taken to Conabari to watch the rally, and there being signs that the WRC or Safari Rally is going to get back onto the WRC is very good news to my ears and very many rally fans. Jean Todt was in the country and he came to launch the offices for the project, the WRC Safari Rally project at Kasarani. This was a task force. We actually talked about it. That was gazetted last year. That has a couple of guys, KMSF chairman Phineas Kimathi, who's a former rally driver. We have KCB CEO Joshua Oigara, because KCB have been the title sponsors for the rally over a long time. And Jean Todt came and said that he's impressed by the work that has been done, but we need to do more work to meet the FIA standards that have been set.
Yeah.
I was also impressed by the fact that he actually had a sit down with President Uhuru Kenyatta, and it kind of shows the commitment that the government has to bringing back WRC to Kenya and the safari back to Kenya. For the people who grew up or who are now grown up and have been going for the rally, KCB rally, you don't know like the action you're missing with Safari Rally not being on the WRC circuit.
Yeah.
So it's a good move, and seeing him coming here is a good move. It was also nostalgic for him because he's a former navigator and a good friend of mine actually, Anwar Sidi. He's a photographer for KMSF. Actually took a good photo of Jean Todt when you're in the 1978 WRC Safari Rally. So he was presented with that photo. Anwar Sidi is always doing good work for the rally community. So look, it has a buzz in me. It has a buzz in very many rally fans, and it would only be good for us to wait and see if Safari Rally is going to get back onto the WRC in 2020.
It would be very good if it did.
Yeah.
I mean, I might become a rally fan.
You definitely will. I keep on telling guys, like, some things, like when you talk about Kenyan things, this is one of the things that is synonymous with the Kenyan culture from the 70s, from the 60s, the 70s. If you talk to your parents, if you talk to older people, that's one of the plans they used to do. This was an Easter plan. Get your grill, get your nyama, get your booze, go to this, to the stages and sit down and choma nyama and watch rallies, and you have like a little scorecard, Ian Duncan, Patrick Njiru. You remember how Patrick Njiru was big when us guys were young. So it's definitely something I would like to see back because it also promotes our local rally drivers. Jesus Christ, our local rally drivers to the levels, to the levels of the Sebastian Ogiers and all those guys. So it's something that definitely has a buzz in me.
Yep. Yeah. So now we move on to our bonus segment. And the question is, how realistic is it? Like, the Kenya Sevens. Sorry, oh my word. I mean, I think we talked about the Kenya Sevens and their, brilliant performance.
Yeah.
All right, so how realistic is it for the Kenya Simbas to make the Rugby World Cup in 2019 in Japan?
Yeah.
And what is it that we can do as, well, by we I mean the fans, but also we as in the players, do to help them?
I always think back to like 2011, the World Cup final. I was watching it at Carnival, I remember, and it was in the morning because it was in New Zealand. So we were at Carnival, and Heineken had given us some tokens, and we were having a few beers and watching the game, and the game ended. And there was a promo video that was ran by England, who are going to be the next hosts for 2015. And there's a promo video of Johnny Wilkinson and Lawrence Dallaglio, and I remember telling myself, I have to be at the Rugby World Cup in 2015. Fast forward 2 years. 3 years after that, and I'm sitting down, and we are the World Cup qualifiers, i.e. Kenya. We've just beaten Namibia.
Yep.
I'm making my plans for the 2015 Rugby World Cup, and I'm like, there's actually a legit chance of us guys making it to the Rugby World Cup. We beat Madagascar. We had the luxury of losing by 7 points to Zim, and everyone knows how that happened. Yeah. And it was because of union interference. But the reason we got to that level is because of the preparation that had been put in by the union that was there at that time. Our boys had actually participated in the Vodacom Cup earlier on that year.
I remember that.
Yeah, and that got them to a level of competition that had never been witnessed in this country before. I remember talking to Oliver Mangeni, and he was telling me, can you imagine every weekend playing against Namibia? Yeah. That's how they felt. Yep. Every weekend was a tough game. So by the time Namibia came, it was a breeze. Yeah. It was done deal. Fast forward to 2019, we should have been making it. We should have been making it for the World Cup now. But I think fundamentally, and we've talked about it a long time, the fundamental problem the Simbas have is a union that's in place, and the lack of support they're getting from from the Kenya Rugby Union. I think, for example, Simbas should have been participating in the Currie Cup at this time. We should have called off all our 30 players who we
Yeah.
think would have been participating.
Yeah.
We should have taken them to a high level camp and let them sit there and let them train and let them focus on the World Cup qualifiers that is coming up. Namibia, as I said a while back, are already in camp. Zimbabwe have gotten the services of Peter de Villiers, former Springbok coach, to coach them. So our preparation is a problem. And as it is right now, even if we get a coach, we don't have a coach. Which, again, you think about the guys who are in the union, like their questions. I mean, questions come level of the IQ, because you don't remove a coach just before a World Cup qualifying, and you don't have a backup to that.
I mean, that doesn't make sense anywhere.
It doesn't make sense
anything.
with anything. It's 2 months now since Jerome Pavata left. We don't have a replacement. So even if the replacement came today, he would have to choose his squad very fast, and I think he'd have to roll with the squad that was with Jerome Pavata. He'll have to trust that Jerome Pavata knew these boys.
Yep.
And these boys will need to go into camp immediately. What I would be looking at is, okay, fine, the initial games are pretty decent. We can be able to beat them. We can be able to beat Zim at home, I think, with a proper, serious camp. Get these guys conditioned, get these guys there, and hopefully think that we can build up towards Namibia. I don't see us beating Namibia, I'll be honest. So which leaves the best option for us as number 2, and a rep judge against the guys from the other continents. I'd like to mention that Brazil and Spain are on the verge of qualifying for the World Cup. These are teams that we've beaten in the last 3 years. Brazil away, albeit 1 point, but we still beat them.
A win is a win.
Winners in Spain, we hammered them like 3 years ago when they came to Kenya. So these are guys who are on the verge of qualifying. As they're going up, we are going down. So what do we do? I mean, as the fans, is support. Like we keep saying, these boys, they're the face of Kenya Rugby. They're the stars of Kenya Rugby, and their performances is what World Rugby will take into account. So as the fans, we need to support them. As the players, I know you've been let down by a union, and you've been let down heavily by a union, but I'm speaking on behalf of the fans. I'll be asking them to just put on that jersey with pride, and come out and play your hearts out. We'll always give you, 100%, 150% support, and at the end of the day, we'll always give you a pat on the back despite the result. So that's my opinion.
So basically, on their part, give it your all, and on our part, we'll give it our all too.
Exactly.
Well, that's it for part 3, guys. Remember, support the Kenya Simbas. Jump onto the hashtag. We keep telling you, #Road to Japan. Jump onto it. Like our page on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm Davina Duffield.
And I'm Nero Kamwe.
It's a wrap.